So I was supposed to be released. I was told if I pled guilty, I would be released from Scottsbluff. I was hoping that the torture would end. I would be able to get out, and I would be able to go file charges, finally, against the hospital in Scottsbluff, and also against the police. Adam Greenman, John Velke, they won't allow me access to any of the stuff that I said to them as proof that I was trying to let them know what was going on, especially since there were officers involved in it. They won't allow me access to that without a lawyer, which I obviously can't get. I can't function well enough to do the things that I need to do. And because of that, I must not be trying. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that the decisions that were made up there in South Dakota by Amanda Engeline and Lana Engeline had a lot to do with Jamie Curtis manipulating the situation, but it also had a lot to do with the fact that I wouldn't have sex with Lana Engeline. See, people with families, these people's families will protect them even when they do wrong shit. They will help to cover up the wrong shit that these people did. Now, I was talking about Sergeant Gerhardt, the one who was involved in the cover up of my friend Danny's death. A lot of people knew Danny. Todd Ryan Case, who I had a phone call with yesterday or the day before, he he knows Danny too, and Danny's family. All right. First, I'm going to read this. I was able to smuggle a pencil while I was in jail in Scottsbluff, and I wrote this. It's December 4th. It's 4 p.m., December 19th, 2019. I can't shake the feeling these people are up to some shady shit. I'm supposed to meet with someone from mental health and be released at 5. I'm still in a holding cell. Still nobody from mental health. I have zero resources for release. Nobody close enough to give me a ride. I have nobody's number except Jen Beebe, and I have been denied the right to call her. It all just seems odd. They were supposed to release me. Instead, they sent me to Scottsbluff, a place where I was already trying to take them to court but didn't have the resources. They sent me to Scottsbluff so that Scottsbluff could further try to discredit me and cover up their crimes from the year before. Now, I saved the names of people who were involved in this. Officer Panduro from the Calm. Michaela was the mental health worker, the one who was friends with she was friends with Sergeant Blanco, who was one of the antagonists, one of the people who assaulted me at the jail there. Michaela, the mental health worker, is friends with him. This is the very same Michaela. This is the very same Michaela whose best friend at the Scottsbluff Hospital on the 5th floor is the very man who assaulted me the year earlier. while I was there. The very man that I was trying to turn in. But I needed to be safe to do that, to not be threatened, harassed, or intimidated like I had been on that day. Michaela, it was because of her lies from the jail there in Scottsbluff. When I was telling her, I was trying to explain to her what had happened at the hospital a year earlier. She didn't tell me that she worked at the hospital as well. I was trying to tell her about the assault by Sergeant Blanco. She was writing stuff down on my paperwork that I didn't say. And I called her on that. I was like, hey, that's not what I said. That is not what I said. But because she lied to protect those officers, I was again the same thing that had happened with the officers here where I tried to turn them in. They used mental health workers so that they could discredit me instead of looking at the evidence to protect themselves and their fellow officers from getting in trouble from the wrong things that they did. Sergeant Blanco never should have assaulted me. Michaela wrote that shit down on my paperwork so that she could have me committed so they could further try to discredit me. Sent me to the same facility where I had been assaulted a year earlier, where I literally had to break their equipment and hold it hostage in order to protect myself from being drugged. I needed help, not drugs. I needed a police officer, not a fucking hospital. They did nothing about the reasons that I want to die. Region 1. Here's the names of some of the people from there. Patrick Fleeman, Jen Beebe, Tamara. I don't know Tamara's last name. I wish I did. I wish I had her card. I did at one point in time. Let me show you the stack of cards I got here. I've been collecting them, and there's a lot more in various piles on this table, but these are just the ones in reach. These are just the ones in reach of me on this very table. Look at that. We got lawyers. Here's Jill Gookins' information. Let's separate all the police ones out of here. I'll also separate the ones from Nicole Peralta. Many of the police officers wouldn't give me their cards. Police officers across the United States harmed me because of slander that allowed them to get away with it. Slander from the state of Colorado. Slander over the assault by Officer Waylon Lolatai, where I was the one charged with assault. Where I was painted out to be some terrible fucking criminal. I used to save lives, for Christ's fucking sake. Separate them into piles. Police across the United States that I had to deal with that took advantage of my disabilities in order to justify the crimes that they committed, in order to hide the crimes of themselves and their fellow officers, and then pretending that they're going to help me, pretending I should have taken it to them. And when I took it to them, what did they do? Sheriff Scott DaCosta, when I went in there with someone, Laura Nelson, Scott DaCosta wanted to intimidate me into not doing what it is that he said I could do and what I should have done. They tell you should come in person, and then when you come in person, they do everything in their power, especially if you're alone. He was obviously not happy that I had gone in there with someone, the same as he was not happy when I went in there with this is a Baptist church, that one. The South is full of Baptist churches. This one's from Nettie's Treasures. David Nelson, owner. That's the guy that I got the car from. He can verify. This man here, he can verify that vehicle issue that I had there when I was in Chesapeake, Virginia. He can verify that that was a pre-existing issue. But is he going to? Here's Priscilla's number. Chanel Fontana, store manager, Tacoma Place, number 312. This is from University of Wyoming, resident physician. We'll put that over here. He's from Colorado Coalition from the Homeless. We'll put that over here. Tuesday, November 7th, 10:30 at Starbucks with Jeff and Cara. I got a bunch of those. There's 4 of them just right here. I haven't even gone through the whole pile, and there's more piles. That's just from the Colorado Coalition of the Homeless. There's the other places that I went for help as well. Liquid Towing and Transportation, Shane Lynch. Put that over here. I mean, there's a lot here. I was trying so hard. Here's a bunch of lawyer ones. These are all just from Nicole Peralta. And there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch more. They got the dates of the appointments and the times on the back of them. Here's Zoe Tanner, one of the crooked public pretenders. Another one from Zoe Tanner. It says court at April 26th at 9:15. This one here, court May 31st at 2:30. Stephanie J. Cotton. Scottsbluff, Jessica R. Myers. She wouldn't call me back, 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 wouldn't call me back. Court date 8/14/18 at 1:00 p.m. Stephanie J. Cotton. And this one I wrote my address on the back of so that I could try to remember it. Colorado Law, tried calling this place over and over and over again. They never got back to me. Jill Gookin. Now here's an interesting one. This is Dwayne Eugene Kirkland. When I got off the bus in Rapid City, South Dakota, and Dwayne Eugene Kirkland, he was on that bus with me. And when Bobby Forrest got a hold of me to let me know that Alicia was missing, this guy was all for helping me out. They helped me to get some gloves so that my fingers wouldn't be frozen while I was out there trying to help find Alicia Bollinger. Scott DaCosta, just between the recordings that I have of him and his officers here, and the recordings that they have access to, they can destroy that evidence. But that'll constitute a felony. And then he'll be going to prison. He's already done so, so he will be going to prison if I can get someone to listen. Now, I want to ask you, how fucked up is it that I have to go to an officer who's already covered up the wrongdoing of other officers? How fucked up is it that I have to go to that guy in order to try to get something done? His deputies work for him, whether they were involved in the cover-up before or not. The fact is, they still work for a crooked sheriff. Michaela, when she lied on that paperwork that they wouldn't allow me access to, by the way, they wouldn't allow me a copy. They said that I needed to get a lawyer in order to get access to that. I have to get a lawyer to have access to my own medical records. Can you imagine that? When I got there, imagine my surprise when Michaela, one of the people that I was trying to, when I got released, was going to go down and try to make a report about what she had done. Imagine my surprise when it all just seems odd. Well, it was odd, because instead of releasing me, they took me to that very same hospital that I had been telling these police officers about what this hospital had done to me, about what their fellow officers had done to me. And what did they do? They used Michaela to have me sent there, wouldn't allow me access to the evidence that she's the one who did that, wouldn't allow me to make a report about the fact that she would not do her job, about the fact that she outright lied on my paperwork. These people are all friends with each other. Why are they defending each other? Why are they slandering my name? Why are they lying? Because they're fucking friends. Because they are friends with each other. So I get to the Scottsbluff Hospital, and who's there? Michaela. Imagine that. Michaela and Ruben are best friends. They are the best friends in that place. They stuck together like flies on shit. Ruben is the Baldylocks who assaulted me a year earlier in that place. When they told me that I couldn't come back to that hospital a year earlier, when Ruben was rubbing it in my face that my camera was broken, my computer was broken, my headphones were broken, and my phone was broken, That stuff that Jen Beebe was supposed to have. I called to have it be brought there, and I'm glad that it was there. And Jen Beebe, this time around, claimed that she had made copies of all of that stuff, which I am totally grateful for. I don't have access to those copies, and she's not calling me back. She hasn't written it down like she said that she would. And all of this stuff needed to be recorded to prevent people who are friends. These are friends. She is friends with Sergeant Blanco, the antagonist who assaulted me. Then we got Wiseman, T. Quick, Wyrick, Sauter, and Wolf. I can remember the situations that happened there pretty well, but I can't remember the names. That's why I write them down. T. Quick, Wyrick, Sauter, and Wolf, and Wiseman, those were all officers that were in the jail. Having to smuggle pencils to write the shit down. They put me on suicide watch to prevent me from writing down what they were doing. The torture that I had to endure by police America wide. I want my life to end because I can't get the help I need. I need help in person. I need a lawyer. I needed these people to come forward. Now, I recorded those phone calls that could have saved my life, that could have put these predators away. I recorded those phone calls, and these people want to treat me like shit because I recorded those phone calls and put them up in public for the world to see, for the world to hear. Meanwhile, they have a safe environment. They have help if they need it. If I ask for help, Natalie asked for help, and it was help. I asked for help, and it must mean that I'm stalking her. No, I'm trying to get this hell to fucking end. This all started because Natalie and her family wanted to pretend that I stalked her in Virginia when I was fucking invited. And she wasn't the only one that I went to see in Virginia. That first conversation with me and Brett Roloff that I recorded, it proves that. It also proves that I stayed away from Virginia after that, despite him inviting me back there repeatedly. Well, North Carolina. He kept inviting me back to North Carolina, and I told him that I didn't want to go because it was too close to Natalie and her family. I didn't want them to be scared. Here, assault by Sergeant Blanco, attempted intimidation, 12/17/2019. Officer Ward, intimidation, 12/18/2019. Sauter Ward, picking on a disabled person, 12/18/2019. And then we got Jen Beebe, Region 1 BHA, 308-635-3173. Obviously, I was trying to get help. Obviously, with all of these mental health places that I was going to, I was trying to get help. But I couldn't afford it because of all of this shit that I had to go through over an assault by Officer Waylon Lolatai and an assault in Clearview, where they omitted evidence that I was showing the truth and telling the truth. In Officer Waylon Lolatai's case, the evidence that they omitted was all of those officers' body cameras and the jail footage. In the case of Clearview, what they omitted was how many times I was trying to get the police, how hard I had tried to get the police, They wrote down anything that they could to try to make me look like I was doing something other than what I was doing, because they knew what they were doing was illegal. Clearview knew that keeping me the way that they were was illegal. They knew that preventing me from writing a report about the police was illegal. Now, Sergeant Gerhardt, who is involved in the cover-up of my friend Danny and the police not doing their fucking jobs, when I called up their internal affairs to try to talk to them, this is the guy that I talked to. He said that he couldn't because they were involved in the Zaid Atkinson thing at the time. So Zaid Atkinson getting all of that public attention was preventing me from having it investigated. Well, this guy calls me back the next day, and I did record it, and somehow magically it wouldn't record. I thought it was recording, but the end of it all, it fucking didn't. And then Gerhardt calls me back the next day to tell me that he already done his investigating and that he didn't see any wrongdoing by his officers and that he listened to all of the body cameras. Really? You just told me the day before that you couldn't, Sergeant Gerhardt, who already covered up the crimes of your officers and the death of my friend Danny. When I read that news article here on YouTube, I believe it was just yesterday, I was surprised to see Gerhardt's name in there. Meanwhile, I couldn't go in person. Every time that I went in person, I had to go in by myself. And every time I went in by myself, they refused to look at the evidence, outright lied repeatedly, prevented me from filing a report against their officers. I needed someone to go in with me for my own protection from these officers. Same as I needed here. Same as I still need here. You guys want me to stop speaking out? You should have done something about the harassment. You should have done something about the threats. You should have done something about the assaults. Does all of this stuff look like I wasn't trying to get help? I mean, this one right here. This is a Jehovah's Witness who worked at Starbucks in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and her name and phone number are on the other side of it. Temple Free Will Baptist Church. People are like, you need to ask the churches for help. I fucking did. Look at that. Look at that. Just one of the many churches I went to. So then Sergeant Gerhardt wanted to paraphrase and twist my words around to be something different than what I had told him the next day when he called me. He said he didn't look at any of the cameras from the jail. He claimed the things that I had said to those officers that I didn't say. Really? Did those officers turn off their body cameras then? They should have had their body cameras on the entire time. May you roast in fucking hell.